about this book, and thank you all very, very much for coming. In celebration of the 850th anniversary of Ibn Arabi's birth, I also want to begin by speaking in Italian, in honor of Mias Latina, our sisters and brothers in the Mediterranean area. Nel mezzo del cammin di nostra vita mi ritrovai per una selva oscura, che la dritta via era smarrita. In the middle of the journey of our life, I found myself astray in a dark wood, where the straight road had been lost sight of. This is Seamus Heaney's translation of the first opening lines of Dante's remarkable poem, La Commedia Divina. And they plunge the reader into the beginning of a great journey down into the inferno of hell for the ascent through purgatory into paradise. That particular feeling which can strike any of us at a certain juncture, being astray in a dark wood, the feeling that we've lost our bearings in life. We have no sense of meaning. We're in need of a guide. We here have taken the great Andalusian master Ibn Arabi as our guide into the mysteries of being. Someone whose whole life was taken up with the divine in the most remarkable manner, and whose writings form one of the greatest resources for a vision of our true humanity. His guides are the prophetic figures that he mentions so often and so eloquently, prophets who are for him just as spiritually active now as they were in their time. And despite the fact that most people here do not appear to share a common earthly language with Ibn Arabi, nonetheless, Ibn Arabi can speak to any of us directly in the language of the heart. How should one best journey through this life? Bearing in mind that the effect or result of our voyaging will be either our joyful fulfillment and happiness, or our bitter disappointment and misery. What may we come to discover about the mysteries of being human along the way? As the translator Angela Jaffray observes, to say that the writings of Ibn Arabi are difficult is a great understatement. The reader who plunges into this vast and shoreless sea, expecting smooth waters, will be disconcerted to find him or herself buffeted about by increasing waves of disorientation and bewilderment. In short, the reader should anticipate a voyage in which the intellect will prove an inadequate compass and in which the heart alone can serve as rudder. The title, Al-Isfar and Nataij al-Asfar, literally means unveiling the results or the effects of the voyages. In Arabic, it is a delightful and insightful rhyming wordplay. The word for unveiling, isfar, is from the same root as asfar, the plural meaning journeys or voyages. And they're identical in writing, apart from one small thing, where we put the tiny mark called the hamza below the line or above the line. Nothing else indicates what the word is apart from that. Now, the notion that unveiling or discovery is linked to movement and traveling is a hugely important one and central to the book and to our discussion today. Voyaging has an effect or a result which is discovered or unveiled in the process of the traveling. The journey of our life is being portrayed as a voyage of discovery of the mysteries of being and knowing who we are. As we travel along our own individual paths, we're being invited not simply to enjoy the ride, but to uncover or discover its meaning. Arabic has an amazing facility to express through the three-letter or sometimes four-letter roots of words a whole range of associated meanings. These are usually derived from a very simple experiential principle or image. In the case of safara, its primary meaning is to sweep or strip away, to remove the covering from something. It also means to uncover or reveal something. If I uncover something, I also make it manifest. So the word can be used of a person writing a book, making it appear. Compare that constellational view, which includes unveiling, scripture, journeying, to something in the English language in terms of an etymological root from the Latin or the Greek or the German. Voyage, Old French, about 1500, 1300, meaning travel, journey, movement, and was even the word used for a crusade. It comes from the late Latin viaticum, meaning a journey, or in classical Latin, that meant the provisions you take with you on a journey, and that's derived from the Latin via, meaning a road, a journey, or travel. Here, a word is what it means. Where Arabic is inherently allusive, suggestive, imaginative, and poetic, English tends to be linear, analytical, prosaic. Even its poetic quality is usually through association of sound or juxtaposition of imagery rather than inherent in the word itself. But the imaginative feature of Arabic lends itself to what has been known in our own time as network thinking, which a student of Jung defines as neither linear nor meandering, but associational. It's purposeful. It's also concerned with elaborating a network of expanded meanings derived from a central image. Our way of thinking is inevitably bound up with and bound by the language we use. This is why Wittgenstein said, "The limits of my language are the limits of my world." And why Charlemagne is reported to have said, "To have another language is to possess a second soul." Many Arabic-speaking friends have told me that they absolutely need English translations, such as these, in order to really penetrate a text by Ibn Arabi. And this goes for French translation, Spanish translation, whatever. Whenever it's done into a European language, precisely because the translator is required to spend such a long time fathoming the meaning of a passage, literally deciphering it. Translation like this is a sort of voyaging into the unknown. All of us here think that going into the unknown is rather appealing. Its primary feature is the excitement of knowing or directly experiencing something new, accessing something fresh in the realm of the known. And given that a work such as the Isfar was inspired into the heart and mind of its author, we are also sharing in the freshness of the descent of that original inspiration by having it transported into English and reading it. The model for such inspiration is the revelation of the Quran itself, as Ibn Arabi explains when discussing the third voyage in the book, the voyage of the noble Quran. The Quran, he says, descends first as a whole and then in constellational form. It continually descends upon the hearts of servants. This voyage never ceases as long as tongues recite it, whether inwardly or aloud. The revealing of the Quran by Gabriel to the Prophet Muhammad is continued and perpetuated by those who participate in its recitation. Likewise, the inspiration given to Ibn Arabi as a whole is continued and perpetuated by it being read and digested, whatever language it may be in. At its best, the English is not like the original or an approximation of the original. It unveils yet another face of the original, according to the degree of receptivity of the reader. This principle, which Ibn Arabi speaks about in terms of the Quran, is far more extensive because Ibn Arabi views the Quran not simply as an external book of revelation, as a form, but primarily as a meaning. He identifies it in the text with the true human being who is the total, the universal human being. This meaning or wisdom or reality descends to us or comes into our heart as a whole. And we then gradually come to realize its full weight, piece by piece. Or to put it another way, the template of our fullest humanity, which is represented by the Quran as the character of Muhammad, is given to us in totality as potential. And our lives are simply the way that this is played out in time, according to our receptivity.